another episode of Euphoric, the podcast, and I think it's time for a rebrand. So, Euphoric, the podcast has actually been around since late 2018. Me and my friend Danielle started it pretty early on into our alcohol-free journey, and as the first year that I was starting to post on social media, I hadn't even had any clients or made any business in my coaching company yet. It was like a passion project that we did together. And as things evolved, she kind of went her separate ways. We're still really, really good friends. So we kind of had a Euphoric 2.0 that came out, I think it was 2022 that we kind of rebranded. I kind of went on my own and I started talking a lot more about not only changing your relationship with alcohol, but also how to find more fulfillment, more purpose in your life, and really helping so many women, discover those passion projects that lead to that sense of impact and freedom and autonomy. We've kind of talked so much about business in the show. So much so that it's kind of like the elephant in the room that we actually devote so much time talking about entrepreneurship, so much time talking about what it means to become a leader, what it means to live a life of purpose, what it means to live a life of impact as we continue to grow on an alcohol-free or sober-curious path. So let's just make it official, shall we? Let's make it official and make this the podcast where entrepreneurship and alcohol-free living collide. So that is the Euphoric 3.0, and I just can't wait to bring on more guest experts who not only espouse the alcohol-free lifestyle and how much further and faster you can get when alcohol's not in your way, but also are bringing us some of the most incredible leadership, business, purpose-driven strategies that we can do to bring our own sense of purpose and our mission-driven businesses further and further. Now, if you are not someone who owns a business, I encourage you to continue to tune in, because I think that having some sense of a autonomous passion where you are making an impact can look like a variety of different ways. It doesn't have to be strictly through entrepreneurship or strictly through having some kind of business or LLC under your name. I meet so many women who want to write a book, for example. They have a story to share. They have something that they want to leave as a mark on the world. And what most people don't understand is that a business is actually very much, I said that wrong. A book is a business, right? When you want to write a book that you really truly want to get into as many readers' hands as possible, it really is kind of the same thing. When you even have a nonprofit that you want to get out and get the solution out to so many people, it is the same thing. When you want to build an audience of people that you can help or serve or give inspiring information to, that is the same thing. So I think sometimes we get a little narrow and closed off about what business actually means, but when you want to do something big in the world, when you want to affect other people, when you really want to live out your purpose and do something that you're passionate about, more times than not, the word business, even though it can feel like this or that, actually is the thing that you're looking for. And so I'm super excited to just give you more and more tips on the show on how to really bring your mission to the world, on how to feel like you're leaping back in legacy and helping people and achieving those things that you've always wanted. Because we don't just ditch alcohol so that everything can be the same. We don't just ditch alcohol to keep all of our limiting beliefs, to stay stuck in toxic jobs, to feel like we're building someone else's vision and not our own. We do it so we can have that freedom and that autonomy and that confidence to actually do whatever the hell we want. And that's the thing about choice, is that whether my way or this person's way or another person's way is actually your way doesn't matter. What matters is that you actually have a choice and that you're actually able to bring income and a sense of autonomy and a sense of impact through work that you love. And I think that's just so rare in this world. So without further ado, Euphoric the podcast is your show where entrepreneurship, purpose, business, and alcohol-free living collide, because more and more as I get into these, these networks, these communities where such successful entrepreneurs and business leaders live, so many of them don't drink. So many people who are doing their own thing and bringing something really meaningful to the world do not drink, right? And so I think there's this beautiful space, whether you're an actual soberpreneur and you serve people who are alcohol-free and you're alcohol-free yourself, or you're just someone who ditched alcohol and discovered that, wow, I really want to get back into my photography business, or whatever that looks like, that those conversations are super, super relevant for us. And I think to start off this kind of rebrand, this episode I want to bring you today is the concept that's helped me so much in my business and something that I'm really bringing to my clients in 2025. And I look at the success I've had. The last episode was just documenting kind of the story of how I got to make over $1 million in my business. From the very start, kind of documenting that story up until now. And I think one of the things that I've been so successful at, and say that because there's so many blind spots I still have. There's so many things that I try that don't work out the way I want them to. There's so many old things that stop working or new initiatives that fail. Like, there's no by means perfection or mastery here. But what I think is really differentiator that has made my career so different from so many other people who kind of get into a coaching business or a service provider business is that I claimed my spot as a thought leader. And that is my word for 2025. That is the identity that I'm encouraging all of us to adopt. Because you don't need to reach a certain point to say, I am a thought leader. It is something you claim first, and then you become it through your actions. And so what the hell even is a thought leader? And how did thought leader positioning make me so much more successful in my business? So first of all, let's talk about all the ways I wasn't a thought leader. When I first started, I was kind of embarrassing, right? There's that total cringe factor that's going on. I was vague. I didn't really have a niche. I used really vague terminology. Like, when I talked to people about, ditching alcohol, I said, let's just get healthier and happier. Like, okay, great, but like, what does that actually mean? Who am I targeting, right? Everything about me was like little girl vibe. Like, I used pastel colors everywhere. I was like pink and sea foam. And it's not like there's anything wrong with that, but it certainly like set a message, right? I wore this little headband, like my eyebrows were all over the place. I wore cardigans, right? Like, and again, nothing wrong with that. It was like a phase I had, but there was no power. There wasn't a sense like of the power that I was supposed to bring into this world. And the passion, I think, was always there. Like, I really always was super passionate, and I think that even though I wasn't really much of a thought leader when I first started, the passion was there. And sometimes the passion is like it's like the energy you feel in someone's voice. It's how much they care. It's how much devoted, how much obsession, how much just like real pure interest they have in that, and that they're just so excited. And so thankfully I did have that, right? But I definitely wasn't a thought leader. And then something changed a few years into my business where I really positioned myself as a thought leader. I came to have a body of work that people could dive into and really learn a unique method into changing not only their relationship with alcohol, but also finding purpose. I found my own methodology as well through that, and then I teach that in the certification program. I also found myself disruptive, right? Because I came into this industry that for so long was like the word, anything to do with just not drinking was so dominated by the idea of sobriety and recovery. And sometimes we can even use those words like sobriety, but in the OG definition, being sober means that you are someone who follows 12-step and that you go to meetings every week. And so to even come out as someone who's like, oh no, you can be alcohol free, you can do it your way, you can do it the personal development way, was really kind of disruptive. And I remember I barely get it anymore now, but like back in the day when I first started, I kind of got that hate. I kind of got people who were really reactive and almost like triggered for some of the things that I would suggest, that you could actually change your subconscious desires for alcohol and not just be someone who can't drink and feel sad for themselves about it, right? So that literally alcohol is meaningless to you and you get high on finding your deeper passions instead. That was really disruptive. Now it kind of seems like maybe common sense, I don't know, but like it's still so much my core message. And I'm one of now the only alcohol-free leaders who really promotes the entrepreneurship in the business and, giving back by starting your own thing and helping more people as a way not only to maintain an alcohol-free lifestyle, but also to find the missing link that everybody on this planet wants more than anything but doesn't know, is a sense of meaning, is a sense of purpose, is a sense of true fulfillment, that your life matters, right? And I think that that's such an important like methodology and a disruption to like the way that a lot of like other alcohol-free coaches might be, or a lot of other sobriety things might be, being disruptive in all the different ways that you don't necessarily agree with the predecessors that came before you, where you think there's a better way. I think it's really important to stand for some of those kinds of things, right? Whether it's in the diet industry or all these kind of things, being disruptive and like really standing ground, not just for like argument's sake, but truly because you think that we can improve as a society and that there are better ways. I think that we need to stand for that kind of stuff. And so I think one of the things that really marked me into thought leadership was really writing a book. And obviously it took a long time to write a book. So was I a thought leader the second my book was published? Was I a thought leader? Like when did that happen? And I think what's fascinating to think about is that, yeah, a thought leader is someone you think of that is like a person who has that body of work that you can fall onto. They are kind of an expert. And it doesn't mean they're a PhD expert or anything like that, but they've developed like curriculum. They've developed, bodies of work that you can dive into and really learn from. They speak on stages, they write books, they get a lot of media. They're really positioned as this leader in their field too, right? They're not just like, oh, I'm just another service provider. You could choose between one or these other 10 people, right? They're the only solution at that point. And I think when you think of people like that, who do we think of? Like Brene Brown comes to mind immediately, right? Someone like Mel Robbins comes to mind. Robin Sharma? You tell me. Right? He's an incredible leader. People like Tony Robbins, obviously. People like Dean Graziosi, Brendan Burchard. I think of people who even in maybe not as like the huge fame of the personal development world, but people like Bridget James Ling, people like Samantha Daly, who really come out owning themselves in their fields and really positioning themselves as a leader. And so I have this, concept of what a thought leader is, but like, wherever we are, we always think that we're way below that. We think that that's other people, but not us, for example. And so what actually positions you as a thought leader? And so I remember, obviously, when I published my book, that was a huge jump into that realm, a huge jump into being like, wow, now I'm on TV, now I'm in all these media hits, now I'm getting on all these podcasts. I'm really positioned as a leader in this field, right? But it wasn't like the moment I hit publish on that book, the moment my book came out into bookstores, that I went from a coach to a thought leader. I think that it was truly way before that. I truly think that just having the ambition to write a book, and not just to write some PDF that, gets filed away somewhere on the computer, but like truly get a book out there, like truly have something that you are known for as kind of your introduction to your work, whether you're publishing traditionally or self-publishing. I kind of will go into that more as I help more clients do that process, but for me, it was traditionally published, right? I got published by HarperCollins. I got a really fat book deal from them. And I think that even the moment I decided that I'm going to strive for that is when I started to become a thought leader. Because immediately as I wrote a book proposal for Euphoric, I was meeting with a book consultant, and she was really talking to me about, obviously she helped me with my book proposal and stuff like that, but we talked a lot about my platform. And my platform isn't just about like how you can be bigger, right? Because we all think we need more numbers, and by platform I mean audience. It's not just about how you can be bigger, like a bigger Instagram and a bigger email list, but it's like that level of positioning where you are the authority to them, where you have this brand expertise and this credibility of being really the only solution. And so something clicked for me right at that moment. Something really changed in my mind that like, I can't keep my work hidden anymore. I can't keep this really low visibility anymore and be nervous about every podcast I get onto. Like, if I really want to be a leader who impacts as many lives as possible, if I really want to get my book in as many people's hands as possible, I really have to step up my game. And so a thought leader all of a sudden gets so much more visibility when they decide that. They get on a ton of podcasts, they get media hits, like in magazines, in, articles, like that is a huge part of it. And they also speak on stages, right? Like that is a big part of it, because when you speak on a stage, a lot of times we're kind of multitasking in the online world. We've got a lot going on, right? And so going on Instagram Live is amazing, but when you're like in person with someone, people's attention and energy goes straight to you. They will never forget the way you made them feel at that event or that live experience. And even before I was invited to be on stages, I created my own. Me and my friends at that time in 2019, we hosted something called Mind Bar, which is like the first alcohol-free meetup in San Diego, where it was like a mocktail party and event, and I spoke on that stage and led the night along with my friends as well. And that was a huge growth in my leadership at that moment, because now I'm not just doing something behind the scenes on my phone, like I'm actually showing up in people's hearts in real life, right? And I hope that you can understand the distinction there. So these are the things that thought leaders do, right? They get into the media, they have books, they position themselves in this way. And it's not just like the success, the milestones of like, okay, I did this, I did that, It's like when you decide that this is going to be your identity, you show up differently. You really, really show up differently. That you're just not an ordinary coach. You're not just an ordinary Instagrammer. You're not just this person sharing cute advice on the internet anymore. You take that stand for that power. You take that stand for where we're going. And sometimes you call really big goals that you have no idea how you're going to meet. And I think that's what something that, when I called that goal that I was going to write a book and have it out in bookstores, I didn't know how I was going to do that. When I called the goal of wanting to, have a certification program, I didn't know what I was doing at first. It's being willing to be so moved by the impact that you can make in other people's lives that you go before you're ready. That you take the moves, that you take the action steps way before you're ready. You do things that scare you because it's actually not about you at the end of the day. If you know that your story or your method or your philosophy or your framework can impact someone's life so deeply that it would never be the same, or even add to their life that it would never be the same, how dare we hide? How dare we say to ourselves, oh, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for that. I'm too scared to do that. I'll do that later. We think that we have to spend forever covering the basics. And if I spent my career trying to just get to like 2K, 5K months without this bigger picture thought leadership goal, I don't think I would be as successful as I was. It's like the pull of something so big metamorphosizes us into that version of ourselves that can achieve it. And there's this really popular book that's going around right now. I'm still reading it, but I get the principle, right? It's called 10x is easier than 2x. And it's this idea that when you just try to marginally improve something, your brain will come up with a million different solutions, all these little things you could do to tweak that thing. Nothing actually feels that exciting to you because even marginally improving isn't that exciting, right? And it feels super overwhelming. But when you ask yourself how you 10x your goal, all of a sudden your brain can't compute. It has no idea. If 2x is hard, how the hell are you going to 10x it? But all of a sudden your brain also starts thinking in way bigger picture. Like, yeah, we could slowly grow the email list and do these reels and get a little bit more followers, versus 10x is like, oh shit, I have to show up in a much bigger way. It's time to write the book. It's time to pitch myself to speak on stages. It's time to really master this marketing game. It's time to sell with so much more authority. It's time to, be an incredible inspiration in my clients' lives, not just one time, but over and over and over again. And so it's a really fascinating prompt for yourself. Whether you're thinking about in business or really kind of any area in your life that you have goals around. Like, if I 10x this area, what would that even look like? What would I have to stop doing? What would I have to start doing? How many other competing kind of priorities would have to go to the side to really focus what I want to double down on? And I think that when I made my goal to be a thought leader versus just a little successful coach, a little successful business, I started thinking much bigger. And a lot of people will meet me at different conferences or whatnot, and I obviously meet people who are also way ahead of me, but when I'm meeting with someone who is really impressed by something I've done, they see those things. They see the fact that I have a best-selling book that's published with HarperCollins. They see the fact that I've been on stages. They see the fact that I developed my own methodology and my own certification program. They see the fact that I'm disrupting my industry. And it's kind of like oh wow, like this isn't like an ordinary Instagrammer. You know what I mean? And so if you are feeling that thought leadership is the thing that's going to really make the difference for you, which I'm telling you is the name of the game, I think, for 2025, I'm hosting a 6-month mastermind. It's by application only. Unless you've been a previous client of mine in a program, just send me a DM and we could kind of bypass that application for you. But it's by application only for a reason, because we're curating in a really incredible group. It is almost half full, so we only have a few spots left. But the name of the game in the Thought Leadership Mastermind is to really spend the next 6 months positioning you as a thought leader in your field. To really embrace that level of unwavering leadership, to create that body of work and your own methodology that's disruptive to the industry, to get the media, to get the speaking, to get on the podcasts, to do the big things in life that actually create a story so that your audience can feel inspired and moved by you, right? To master the selling, to get the brand positioning as that thought leadership that will just drive the clients and the sales. That is kind of what we're cooking up for 2025. It begins in mid-January, but we're going to probably close the doors for enrollment way before then in December. And my favorite part about it is that we don't just talk about thought leadership like as this abstract idea, we do it. And so the entire experience actually culminates with a VIP day in Paris, France. Because I don't know about you, but thinking about getting on a plane for my business to go network with the most incredible entrepreneurs in the world in one of the most cultured, beautiful, sophisticated cities of the world is that demarcation point where you leave behind the cute little business and you really step into your power and your thought leadership era. And I just know that the content, the videos, the stories, the huge ahas, the huge level up in the ownership and the power and the authority and also the worthiness to really claim that level is going to make such a big difference. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Who is coming to Paris with me? Who is coming to Paris with us and really staking that claim as a thought leader in their industry? Now, as my audience grows, I'm getting a lot of questions about this mastermind, and I've always built this alcohol-free community. So I've got this question, do you have to be alcohol-free to join? That's always kind of going to be my thing. I think that, someone who decides to step out of the alcohol matrix is just operating at a whole new level in life and in business. And while it doesn't have to be a perfect definition, oh, you never drink or you'll never drink again or anything like that, if you're just someone who's committed to stepping out of the alcohol matrix, and you really like spaces where people don't and are not obsessed and always constantly glamorizing alcohol, this is going to be the space for you. Because almost everyone has gone through a major transformation where they're just over alcohol, they're over drinking, and we're going to have such a fab time in Paris, literally trying other alcohol-free drinks and all the alcohol-free champagnes they have, and just living it up without that be a story that you need alcohol to have this glamorous experience, right? So I think that's going to be important. And if you're not there yet, or that's something that you really want to work on in 2025, I do encourage you to join Become Euphoric. That is my signature program to literally remove your desires for alcohol. If you don't want it anymore, it's not even a thought. It's not even something you have to ask yourself, I don't know, what's it? That's the level of freedom that I want for you. If you're not a business owner yet and you want to be, I encourage you to get on our Empower Day of Coach certification waitlist. So the next class is going to start in around April. I don't have the exact dates yet. It's going to be a spring class though. And so if you are someone who's hungry to do your own thing, to really become a leader who helps people, who really wants to have that freedom of the time, the location, really build something that's not a get-rich-quick scheme. I promise you that. It is something that does take time to build, but if you are looking for that exit ramp and you really want to, start this career that you feel is going to be so much more meaningful to you and that you're going to love and that is going to be something you develop over time that creates a lot of impact and a lot of success, then I do encourage you to get on that wait list. You do get certified with 5 different modalities under your belt, plus we have a business mastermind. That's where I teach all of my foundational business. I don't have a separate one from that. So if you aren't ready yet for the Thought Leader Mastermind, that's actually where I'd start. Even if you're already certified, I think actually it's such a good fit for someone who's still new to coaching, because a lot of other certification programs are kind of basic and they don't really cover some of the things that actually change you inside to be able to be such a powerful force for your clients. And also most of them don't cover how to help someone change their relationship with alcohol. We go so much deeper, helping people find their deeper purpose, all those things. Plus then you have that 4-month mastermind and retreat with me in Palm Springs in order to do so. So if you need more details on that, do get on the waitlist of the Empower Day of Coach certification. But if you're already an established coach, if you've already worked with clients, if you already, have been doing your coaching business for a few months and you really want to get to that next level of income and impact, it's not about being someone who's already making X amount in your business. It's about being someone who's deciding, I'm going to embrace the identity of a thought leader. So application only, send me a DM if you're interested. I'm going to have some more information in the links below so you can check it out and see if it's for you. And then again, you can ask me questions in the DMs or just apply right away. If you're a previous client, DM me because we do have a special bonus for you, and you can bypass the application. I hope this was helpful of a little bit of a breakdown of why I see some people becoming really successful in a personal brand and coaching and or service provider business, and some people kind of flop. I think this is the difference, truly, is like you have to position yourself as seriously as all the people you admire out there. And that's what they did before they had all those opportunities. That's what they did to actually get those opportunities and to make that impact and to make that income and get those clients and stuff like that. It's not the other way around where you wait that your business gets to a certain level and then you can become a thought leader. You claim it now. You claim it first. Once you have the business foundations, you've already worked with a client or two or whatever, and then you really claim that identity for yourself. So I hope to meet you in that program. If we've already worked together, I hope to see you. That'd be such an incredible experience to have like a reunion in Paris. And I hope this episode was helpful.